welcome to Inquiring Minds. My name is Doug, and it's time for another shorty. I just got this tool in the mail. This is a tool for removing the nib and the ink collector from the Moonman Ti200, but I was also hoping this might work on the Moonman Ti500. So let's first take a look at the Ti200 and see how to disassemble this pen. As you may know, this Ti200 is a titanium fountain pen that has a hooded nib, and it's colored like this because I did an anodization on it to color it, and you can see that video if you like by clicking right up there. So we're going to take off the barrel and remove the converter, and then the tool goes right in there like that. Then you put the bar through the tool. I usually like to put a rubber band around the section, and then you can turn the section, remove the hood, and then you get the middle part of the section here that has the clutch ring. There's an O-ring there for sealing the barrel. There's another O-ring right there, and that keeps this clutch ring from coming off. But there's also another piece right here. Let's get that off. This is like an O-ring spring that has knobs on it, and they line up with these openings right here in the clutch ring, and when you screw it back down again, those line up and are part of the cap sealing mechanism. So you can put that aside, and then we end up with the hood and the nib, and we should be able to push the nib unit right out, and we end up with the ink collector and the nib. And you can pull on the nib again. A little bit of elastic helps to pull that out, and what you end up with is the nib and the feed and the breather tube. And that breather tube is cemented in there. On some other hooded pens, like on the Parker 51, that breather tube comes out of the feed. You can pull that nib straight off of that feed, and there's your feed and breather tube, and there's your nib, so you can replace that if you wish. Of course, mine has a bobby bent nib on it, which I think makes the pen write a lot better. But you put the new nib back on there and line it up so it's lined up with the end of that nib, and you can flush your collector out. I put mine into an ultrasonic bath and cleaned that right out. Put it back in again. You line it up so that the large channel is on the bottom, and push the nib all the way into that collector, and then you can put it back into the hood and get it to line up with the end of that hood, just like that. This is an important step because it isn't as easy to align the hood on this Ti200 as it is on, say, a Parker 51, because what I found is that you have to hold on to the nib and feed to keep that orientation right like that as you screw the section end, the nozzle part of the section, back on to the pen, and those little nubs have to align. So there's a lot to line up as you do this, and you tighten it down. I get it hand tight and make sure that the alignment is still there. There it is. And then you can put the tool back in just like that, holding on to the nib alignment and tightening the whole thing down. I'll lay the little wrench rod on the tabletop, grab onto this with my elastic band, and then give it some torque. Make sure it's absolutely tight. And now it's aligned and tight, and I can put my converter back in and close the barrel down. And you can see those little nubbins are aligned in there. The nib is aligned, and the cap will close. Now, the issue with the Ti500 is that I can get the section off, but to get the hood off, there are two obstacles. One is an O-ring, which is right down inside there. Then I can take a needle and just pull that O-ring out of there. There's that O-ring. And that leaves us with that brass nut that has those two little slots, and I was hoping that those two little nubs there would fit into that, and unfortunately they don't. So I think we're hooped until a new tool comes around for disassembling the Ti500. I found the best way of getting the O-ring back on is to put the end of it on some tweezers, tease that O-ring back over that stem, just like that, and push it back down again. And then a little bit of silicone grease on those threads is a good idea as well. So unfortunately I can't get that nib out of there yet, but it's an ongoing project. So there you go, the disassembly of at least the Ti200 Moonman with the new tool. Thanks for watching.
I made this.